Okay.
Stop.
Hi, this is Graphics Alex, coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today I'm here with Eric. Um, I am not mirror mindful. My internet might be weird too, but that's why I'm a green cut crease. I'm also sick, so I'm green, literally. I was really sick last night, and I'm like, ooh, girl. Um, I guess it's bad karma for talking shit for the hell of it in my last video.
Mm-hmm.
But I filmed that one on Thursday, and by I think Saturday I was sick, and then Sunday I was really sick. So here we are. It's Monday, and I'm doing this for y'all. But I was just like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's talk shit for the hell of it again, because I never learn.
That's
Um,
true.
and I've been wanting to film this with Eric for a long time, which he can explain his name once he starts. But basically, we're going to talk about somebody. We're going to talk shit tonight. So if you're like, oh, I can't handle it, and oh gosh, this is so mean and nasty, then you're gonna want to click off. Also, I am brat today. I am Georgie because not because I'm unfocused, but because I'm sick. And I feel like that always makes me kind of like little kiddish. So, anyways, let's go. So introduce Eric and let's get into it.
Alrighty. Well, you guys, I am Joyride. And the reason behind my name is because let's keep that Kesha train going, right? So, sponsoring her new album, I'm sponsored. So, shout out to Kesha 2025. Um, but no, for real. Since some of us out here are being delusional, I'm the Joyride. Everybody just wants to have fun with me, even though it's not a good time, because just like that single, I'm not that great. Um, but everybody just wants to like use me as a vessel to like go do whatever they want, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool. But that's why I'm Joyride, because Joyride, Joyride. But anyways, let's get into it. So the grand story time of today of my lovely half boyfriend situationship Giovanni.
Yes,
um,
let's go. People love the gay
right.
tea. They love it. They do.
Oh gosh, I don't. Oof. Okay. Well, I guess to give context, the current job I hold right now, I used to work like right next door to it, and I got introduced to these groups of people, and because they'd walk over, say hi to me, talk to me, whatever, converse. It was like a casual thing at first, and then I started working for the restaurant. They poached me, and it was all cool, and I was like, oh, okay, awesome, and like we're all like in the same age group. I'm 30, orange at the bottom of the basket, and they're like 33, 34. Obviously we've been talking for a few years, so like I was like fresh in 28 or something, 27 at the time, but now not anymore, I'm busted. But point is, we're all the same group, or like same age range, so I've known them for a few years. But when it first started, we were getting to know each other, and it's like the honeymoon phase. It's all fun and games. It's all great. You go out to eat, you go out to do random activities together, or we just walk over to each other's restaurants, or we work together, whatever the case was. Um, and Mr. Giovanni at first was like super nice. I mean, he's still nice. I'm friendly, you know? So I say I'm friendly
He's
because
demure,
like so
mindful.
and I say friendly because outwardly I'm very nice. I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, but inside I'm like, ugh. But outside I'm like, oh yeah, totally, like yeah, facts, let's go. Um, so yeah, point is, I would like get snacks or stuff for them, or just give them the food of the restaurant I worked at, like just build that relationship, be super nice. And then Mr. Giovanni would like return the favor. He would get me like coffee or something from Starbucks, or he would just get me food from the outside. And I've always been kind of very mindful of what I eat. So I've always like, because he'd get me like the most random things, like hot dogs from Sam's Club, and I was like, I'm not eating that. Like I never like faked that I would. I was like, I'm not eating that. But he would still get me things like that just to be nice. And it's like, oh well, you got me food, or you got me this, so I don't care. Here you go. And I was like, okay, whatever. But anyways, in the beginning, Mr. Giovanni, when we met, we kind of bonded actually over health and fitness, because he himself used to be a big boy. He's a pretty tall dude. He's like 6'3", And when we first met, oh gosh, what can I say his weight was? Maybe he was like 240, maybe.
Okay.
Um, because I mean, you've seen the photo, obviously, so maybe you
Mhm.
think that's a fair assessment. 240, maybe. Um,
I think so. I think if my internet's okay, I would say in the beginning, yeah.
okay, because he was fitter in the beginning, and
Mhm.
like he had some muscle, like his arms. I was like, oof. Um, he did have like a bit of a chest, and like he was still going to the gym and trying to kind of monitor what he ate. So I'm just like, okay. And we bonded over that because I was like, I used to be a bigger boy too. And he's like, oh, me too. And he showed me pictures and I was like, oh, shoot. Like, you were big, you know?
Mhm.
Like, he was definitely bigger than me. So, we were just talking about like, oh, well, I did this.
How big was he?
Oh, goodness. I think he definitely hit the 300s. I don't think he was ever like, high 300s maybe, but I
Oh,
think he
okay.
definitely,
I don't
but I
know
think
why I
he,
thought he was like a 350 person.
no, he might have been. I think he might have hit the mid, like that would be his max, but he never
Oh,
went like
okay.
up. Yeah, yeah. So I think he was
Yeah.
either, yeah, like 320, 350 is probably correct. He is probably in that range, okay?
Yeah, that's
So,
fair.
yeah, so he was like that size, and I'm over here like, oh my god, I was Mondo, I was 240. And he's like, well, I was like, three this, and I was like, oh, let me shut up. So,
He's
you
like, I'm
know,
240 now.
oof, oof, I know. I was like, oh, never mind, you're fine. But anyways, so yeah, we started talking over that, and I was like, oh, well, how did you like, how did you get rid of the excess? Like, wait, what did you do? And he's like, oh, well, the usual. He's like, going to the gym, I worked out. He's like, I was mindful of what I like intook. And he was just like the very basic bro, like when you start like rice, chicken, broccoli, just those kind of meals, and very much so careful of calories. Um, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So you went like the regular route, I guess, that most people do in the beginning of their journey. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, what did you do? And I was like, oh, nothing crazy, just cardio for like 5 hours, no biggie.
Just Katie
Um,
from Degrassi.
yeah, just having little Katie episodes. I was like, ooh, it's Friday. I need to do my 5 hours of classes in a row. Um,
Ooh.
so 24-hour fitness shout out for that block. Um, but no, I was just like, for real though. I was like, oh, I was also careful of what I ate, and like I did start moving more, going to the gym, and just your basic generic beginner stuff. And he's like, oh, cool. And he's like, yeah, like I'm trying to get down to like 230, 220, and then I'm done. I've told you this. Like he's always said that number is like I'm done. And
I don't think, okay, I have to comment on that. I don't think that that's always a great number, but it's
mm,
very common. Like, I feel like when
mm-hmm,
you've been really big, like, I feel like where I'm at or where I started, I was 386. People who start similarly, they say like 230 is a good spot. And I don't think I think you probably should go further. But
mm-hmm.
I'm just putting that out there. Like, I don't think it's good enough, but I know that might be controversial. Again, I'm talking about from a male perspective or like, you're 6 feet tall or whatever, that kind of zone. I think 230 is still big,
Yeah.
personally. That's literally like your starting weight.
I mean, it was. And I will say this in his Iggy Azalea defense, maybe had he kept going, like he would have been like, oh, maybe I should go lower. But because that's not what happened, foreshadowing, maybe that's why it's that number. That's why he's chosen that number. I'm sure if maybe he got to where he said he would be good and then saw himself, maybe he would have been like, oh, maybe I should go lower. I'm guessing. I don't know if that is accurate or he'd be like, no, I'm good, you know? But
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know either. But obviously, like I said, that's just it's not the case at all because let's get into it. Um, so
Because we're
yeah,
going to go on the toxic ritualistic train, which is also another reason why I'm Georgie. We're going to be seeing it in this story.
oh my
Pennywise.
goodness, oh my goodness, yes, because like I remember it was kind of like in the summer when we first started like talking, interacting, and kind of getting to know each other and bonding and whatnot. And then obviously what comes after summer? Holidays.
Autumn.
You know. Right. So the holidays start coming among us. So it's like Halloween, which is just one day. And then Thanksgiving, which is
All month. I'm just
so
kidding.
maybe 2 to 3 days, and then Christmas, which I'll give you 3 days, and then New Year's Eve and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like my point in just saying that this is like it's not like just 3 months of crazy nonstop eating. It's just like maybe be generous. We'll do like 10 days maybe out of the 3 months. That's I don't know, being generous, I guess, but whatever. I'm just gonna say that just to be nice. um, but my point is like the holidays came around, and at this point we had started hanging out already, like going to eat out, and just kick it with each other. And everything was normal at first. Like again, he's super nice, super friendly. Sometimes he was too nice, and I'm just like, oh, you didn't have to do all that. Like some actions he did were just really like nice, and I was like, oh. And yeah, so the holidays came around, and he kind of started. In the beginning, I couldn't say maybe falling off because a lot of people have that mindset of like, oh, well, it's the holidays. I'm not going to be so strict, or I'm just going to eat more loosely or casual, or I'm just going to go for it. So it's like I can't even like shit on him individually. I'm like a lot of people do that. So it's like I don't agree with it
Mhm.
for the most part, but whatever, it happens. So Halloween comes around, he starts eating a ton of candy. And I like to be like, gay and get like a bowl of candy for work and like have people like take a piece, whatever. I like Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. And
Mhm.
so he would eat a lot of the candy. And I'm like, wait, this is for the customers. Like this isn't for you. And he would just like grab it and like he'd have like 5 pieces, and I'm like, okay, like I hope you replenish that bowl. I wasn't so much like like, oh, you shouldn't eat all that. I'm like, I hope you replenish the chocolate because that's for the customers. So, but whatever, he'd do that. And then there's this place called 85 Degree Bakery that he loves, and it's like a Korean bakery. And he would get a lot of breads from there, and he's like, oh well, it's Halloween, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I'm like, not for Halloween. And then he was still going to the gym at this time. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then Thanksgiving came around, and he's just going crazier. And then I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And
Is
then
this was this 2023?
this was 2022.
Oh,
So
oh, it started
yeah.
early then. Oh, oh my
No, we've known
gosh.
each other. We've known each other for a few years. Yes, it has.
Ooh.
Because it was,
Okay.
yeah, because it was mid to late 2022 when we started interacting more. Because
Because I will say, like, I talk a lot on the channel about like hypo girly pops, and I do think, and boily pops, and I do think he's very hypo, but he does
mm,
have, spoiler alert, toxic ritualistic. I don't even think it's past. I think it's still happening. But basically,
oh,
he I'm pretty sure he's hypo. So he would feel a drive to eat more this time of year. I made it till like basically now or like a week into December, and then I had to start eating more. I couldn't anymore. But
yeah.
it's still an issue. I think with him though, starting in October, that's really early. And he wasn't that big either. So I don't know. Just
No, and it
saying.
was it was interesting to
It's
see his
early.
yeah, and it's interesting to see his spiral, his downward spiral, because like I said, this is
Yeah.
2022. And like I wasn't like on my A game that much either. Like I was more loose with it during that year because I was a little bit like still drinking kind of bit. So
Okay.
so yeah, Thanksgiving came and he's going for it, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary or crazy. Like it just started with the generic, like, well, it's the holiday, so I'm just gonna eat more. And I was like, okay. And then same with Christmas, I'm just gonna eat more. It's the holidays. And I was like, for sure, like enjoy it. And then that's when it started happening in 2023. The holidays are over. There's nothing anymore. You can't say like, I don't know, you can't say Valentine's Day or you can't, I mean, not when you're single, anyways, I think. No shade to the single oranges. I'm an orange myself, but I'm just saying, like, you can't, like, Valentine's Day, I don't count it. And then what, St. Patrick's Day? And then what, you're just gonna use anything like there's Easter, and then
Easter,
yeah, it just
Memorial
keeps
Day.
Right, it keeps
4th
going
of
towards
July.
yeah,
It's summer
exactly.
now.
Right,
Oh, now it's
exactly.
Halloween.
Right. So it's like there's no break. It's like, well, I just got to eat all year now. Um,
Yeah.
but basically he kind of started breaking down, or maybe he was already broken because he was very intense. He was very strict with how he lost the weight because it was very
Side
like
effect, or it is one aspect to it.
because
Very strict.
it was very controlled. Yes, it was very restricted. Um, so the caloric intake was very low. He went like way too low because I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Because on top of going too low, he was still working out. Because from what he told me, he's like, yeah, I was eating about 1,000 calories. And I was like, wait, you're like 6'3". You're eating 1,000 calories and you're going to the gym? I was like, what? You know? I was like, that is terrible. I'm like,
Toxic. Yeah.
and he obviously endured it for a while. He did lose the weight, and
Hypothyroid inducing, by the way.
yeah, and he endured it for a while because he did lose the weight. He did add some muscle and stuff, but that's obviously not sustainable. That's not long term. It's like I can't even say it's a quick fix because you're damaging yourself, you know? So
Hmm.
it's just like a temporary solution. I don't know. It's like it's hard to call it that because you're just damaging yourself, you know, realistically. So
Hmm.
but yeah, so that probably got to him because that's really hardcore. And it's just like, ooh, when he like told me that, I was like, that's crazy. You know? So yeah, he just kind of started snapping. He's like, he was just more loose with it. And eventually we would hang out a lot. Like we were hanging out more. And I thought that like it was just like because he was really kind of clingy and kind of smothery. And I was like, oh, he's probably just really lonely. I don't know. Like he doesn't really have any friends because he does get mistreated at work. So I was like, oh, he's
Hmm.
probably just really lonely and he gets treated like kind of poorly at work. So maybe he's just, you know, wants really to hang out with somebody and I'm that somebody. I'm the joyride.
Oh
So
my.
right, because you want to like hang out all the time. And I was like, oh, okay, I was kind of for it because like let's be totally real. I'm totally biased. I was like into it because I was like, oh, well, he's really nice. He pays for things and I find him attractive. I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, sure, why not? So I was hanging out with him
You were a
like,
little bit delusional because I remember at the time you were like, he's my straight friend, blah, blah, blah. But he does all this. And I was like, Eric, delusional.
well, right, let's take it back a little bit because I didn't mention the
Okay.
part where I had the holiday work party and I blacked out, you
Ooh.
know? So I blacked out at my holiday work party. Holla, we don't get hangovers, but we black out. So, I blacked.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really bad. I blacked out and like, which is really crazy and scary because apparently I went to a bar after the holiday party with a coworker, and like I remember none of that. I don't remember any of that because somebody,
Wow.
yeah, because Giovanni and the other coworker that were next door, I didn't work at them for them at the time. They were like, "How was the bar afterwards?" And I was like, "The bar afterwards? What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Yeah, you went to a bar afterwards." And I was like, "Oh my god, I don't remember." I was like, "I thought I went home." Um, and then there was like a weird little slip up that I chose to ignore because I was like, "No, no," because I think you remember when I told you when you text me. And again, blackout, you don't remember anything. But when he texted me, he was like, "Hey, babe," and then like he said something, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Babe," and I was like, maybe he just really misspelled Eric wrong, you know? I was like, and then I looked at the keyboard. I was like, ERICBABE. I was like, yeah, he just spelled my name really horribly wrong. I was like, that's what he did. I was like, and he just auto corrected it to Babe. So, um,
Okay,
but
Tasha.
I was just like, whatever. I was like, it happens, you know, like he's probably just calling me Babe the pig. Um, but so I was just like, whatever. And then, like I said, he was just like super nice. He'd pay for things, and I was like, okay. And then we would hang out a lot, and like I said, it doesn't help that I was biased, and I was like, oh, he's attractive. Um, so yeah, we just started hanging out more, and like I said, he was just kind of breaking because he slowly stopped going to the gym. Like he slowly started falling off of that, and I was like, okay. And this is now in 2023, and I was super busy that year because I was working two jobs. It's when I was too good for everyone, but I was working two jobs, you know? So, because
Right.
everyone's like, oh, aren't you just Mr. Busy? And like, oh, you can't hang out with us. And I'm like, well, no, I literally can't. I have two jobs. So I was like, this, what? um, so yeah, but like I would hang out with him because it was easier to hang out with him than a friend from outside of work, if that makes sense, because we work
Yeah.
together. So we'd get off of work together and it's just like, oh, well, let's just go do this. Let's just go do that. We're already in each other's company. So it's easier. So we would just do that. We would hang out. And yeah, eventually he just kind of kept eating and he would just like start scapegoating things to eat. He'd be like, I'm in a mood. I had a bad day. And I was like, okay, okay.
Oh.
And then he'd be like, oh, I'm in a good mood. I'm happy. And then that to me didn't make sense. I'm like, wait, so you're just eating when you have a feeling then? Because like what? You know?
Anxiety. Anxiety.
So I was like, huh? I was like, you're eating when you're upset and you're eating when you're happy. I was like, so you're just eating, period. I was like, what? Um, so
Yeah,
and then like
he's eating with the anxiety.
hmm and then I was very careful what I ate because remember last year is also when I came off of keto. So that's when I
Yeah.
quit it. And I was trying to be super careful. I was like only eating fruits for carbs really.
Uh-huh.
Like I was kind of scared to eat rice and potatoes in the beginning. So I would just eat fruit. And I just had to be super strict because like I was just scared of gaining a lot of weight. And so basically he would like obviously I told him because we talked about this stuff because again, he was into health and fitness. And I say he was because he started falling off of that. And he didn't really care
Mhm.
anymore. Like he wouldn't really like. I would still talk to him about it because he would ask or try to inquire about things I was doing, and I was like, oh yeah, well I'm getting off of keto, so I'm just like I'm gonna be bloated for a while and I'm gonna
Mhm.
look fugly. And I was like, but I need to get over it because it's not realistic to not eat fruit ever. So I was like, I'm done. And he was just eating freely, like whatever he wanted. And then he started getting like observational, like kind of judgmental of what I was eating, I guess you could say, or just me in general. Because
Projection. Mhm.
yeah, because I eventually did move on to rice and potatoes. And I was effing up those potatoes because like I wasn't calorie counting. Because I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna get my body used to carbs again. Like granted, I wasn't eating like a whole stack of potatoes, but if I wanted four of the mini potatoes from work, I was gonna eat the four mini potatoes. I don't care with some crab or something.
Mhm.
And
And you were like 220,
so
230.
oh my gosh,
I'm
and I
just
was
kidding.
221. Oof.
No, that was only one day.
So, oh, not me walking around at 221 thinking I'm the shit.
Wait, how much
But
did you weigh?
well, I don't know around that time because I wasn't weighing myself. But
Okay, but you were
remember,
kind of in that
I was easily babes.
icky zone.
If I started my weight loss thing right now at 211, I was probably 220. Let's be so real, because I wasn't
Okay.
calorie counting and I was probably bloated from eating
Oh
carbs and all
yeah,
that. You know,
that's true. That's a good point.
so so I was probably
Okay.
very much so. Yeah, so I was probably 220. And then like I'd sometimes wear a hoodie just to be comfortable or just because like it was a little chilly.
Like
And
me?
then yeah, being all cute and stuff, being cutesy, non-creased and all that. And but then he would crease my vibe because basically I didn't say anything like, I'm like not trying to draw attention to myself. I would be the last person to be like, "Oh gosh, I'm so bloated. Look at me." I'm not doing that. But he'd be like,
Right.
"Oh," he'd be like, "Are you wearing a hoodie because like you're gaining weight because you're eating so many potatoes?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "What?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I've noticed you've been eating a lot of potatoes lately." He's like, "Did you gain weight? Like, is that why you're wearing a hoodie?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, had like a Manny from Degrassi moment. I was like, "You were the last person," like about to grab him by the hair like he was Darcy for all the Degrassi fans out there. Um, but like, I was like, ugh. I was clutching my pearls because I was like, not you commenting. First of all, I was not wearing a hoodie for that. I was just chilly and I wanted to be comfortable. So I was like, not you saying that I'm gaining weight and wearing a hoodie because I'm eating potatoes, you know? And I was like, how dare you? Because I was like, I told you, and I explained to him, I was like, no, I told you, like, I'm eating more carbs now because I'm trying to get used to you know, carbs again in my diet. And I was like, I know, I'm just wearing a hoodie because I'm comfortable. I was like, goodness, and like, obviously, like, that's when I kind of, because I'm kind of oblivious. I don't know, like, uh, I'm delusional because like I know people can watch me, but I don't like, I guess, acknowledge or take into consideration how closely they're watching, you know?
Mhm.
So like, and he was like hawk watching me. So I'm just like, oh, like he's really noticing. Like he's really noticing. So I was like, oof, like that triggered me. But then it would just get worse as time went on because not really for me, but for him. Because eventually it would get to the point where like he would I guess he would try to do some like cleansing days
Oh yeah.
where he's like, oh well, I ate so bad this day, so
Yeah.
today I'm just gonna be
Because
really good.
when you're in it, I always explain on the channel, you have to have those three parts. So obviously you're not going to hear him talk about his body, but that's probably going on
Hmm.
internally. But you're seeing the behavior. So you're seeing the eating a lot and then the restriction because he could probably tell he was gaining.
Right, and like and I did have some concern generally at the time because like
Mhm.
I was like attracted to him, like semi into him. Like I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm kind of into you. There's some things you do that really like turn me off, but there's still some like attraction there, you know?
Mhm.
And I guess this is where I can throw that in too, because why not? But like a lot of the stuff he would do with me and all that, like it was just too friendly. Where I'd ask some people, I'm like, hey, is this normal? And like, or is this like too much? And like, that's kind of gay, bro. And I was just like, okay, because he would just do certain things like if I was because I was in a bad mood one time. I was in a really bad mood from like one work event that we went to, and I'm usually like Mr. Becky Baker and like always sunshine and like it's gonna be okay. But that day I was so pissed off. I was just so mad, and like when I get mad, I'm not like yelling and flipping tables over, being like I'm speaking. Like I don't do that. When I get mad, I'm not a mayor bear.
Oh my
Um,
god.
let's leave that to the Alexes of the world, and that's
Oh
not
my
my
god.
style.
To
Let's
the
leave that to the
reactors of the
reactions.
world.
Yeah.
Yes, I am reactive. I try not to be, but
Yeah, because like that's not my style. Like, so when I'm mad,
yeah, when I'm
um,
mad, you can tell. We'll just leave it there. It's obvious when I am.
when I'm mad, I just get really quiet and I don't want to deal with you. And like, I wasn't mad at him. I was just mad in general. But like he was trying to talk to me and like he obviously noticed that I was in a bad mood, so he tried to cheer me up. He tried to turn into sunshine and like cheer me up, and he's like, hey, well, you know what, like there's good food around us and blah blah blah. And I was like, shut up, like no, I don't care. And basically, I was really mad because I was like, this is so stupid, this is a waste of my time. I was like, I am so irritated because it was supposed to be my day off, and
Yeah.
I'm doing like a work event that was really slow and there was no benefit for us, and it was just an honest waste of my time. And like
And
I
no
was
tip.
already right, and I was already working two jobs, so I'm like, I am so irritated
Yeah.
that my day off I'm here, when I have two jobs already.
Yeah.
Um, so I was super pissed off, and he's trying to cheer me up and be super nice, and he he's like, well, did you have coffee? And I was like, I've had one cup. I was like, I could use more, but leave me alone, because he just kept trying to make small talk, and I was like, leave me alone, leave me alone. I was just forcibly answering, and like it was very clear that I was mad. I wasn't trying to hide it. Um, and then he's like, oh, I'll be back. I'm just gonna walk around and like look at some stuff. And I knew damn well what he was doing. Like I was like, oh, he's so annoying. He's gonna get me a coffee. I was like, but I'm just on my period, I think, because like that's not a bad thing. Like it's nice of him that he got me a coffee, but I was on my period, so I was like, oh, he's gonna get me a coffee. It's pissing me off. Um, so
Okay,
he,
Kesha.
I know. So he comes back with a coffee, and then he also got me like a dinosaur, like plushie, like
Oh
a
my
stuffed
god.
thing, because I love dinosaurs. because I'm Kesha, Dinosa. You are a dinosaur, you know? It's a Kesha song, Alex. I don't know if you know, but
Is it?
yeah, she has a song called Dinosaur on her Animal album.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
so,
Okay. All
so
right.
we just love our dinosaurs, and I am a fan of like T-Rexes. So he got me one, like a plushie and a coffee, and he's like, "Here you go." And like it didn't do anything for me. I was so unmoved. I like try to be so nice because it was a nice gesture, and I tried to be like so nice and fake with it, but like internally, I was ripping the head off of the dinosaur and like spilling the coffee on it, you know?
Oh my God.
Because I was really mad. I was just so mad that day. I don't know. Maybe I was like, maybe getting off the keto did something to me. I don't know, but I was so pissed off. Like I was raging. So, you
It's
know,
because you're
like,
wearing a hoodie.
oh gosh, it's my weight gain. But
Oh my
you
God.
know, so yeah, like, you know, whatever. In girl world, I was ripping off the dinosaur and like pouring coffee on it. But in the real world, you know, I was like,
Right.
oh, I was like, thanks, Jimmy. Oh, this makes my day better. Even though it didn't. And so, you know, he was very, very nice with it. Not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. But point is, like, he went out of his way to do that. Super nice. And I was like, okay. And then one morning, I had gone out a previous night, and he, you know, he knew I was tired, and I think like I was on a trend for a minute where maybe I was moody and I didn't acknowledge it, but because he's watching me like a hawk, he did. So on a little like what do you call them? Those boards that like it's like the boards we had as a kid where like you turn the knobs and like it writes on it or something. Like I don't know if you know what I'm
Gosh, I
talking
can't
about.
remember it, but I know what you mean.
Okay, well they have like the modern version where you just get like a pen and like with the end of it you write on it or whatever and then you can erase it. So
Uh,
we had those and he bought me a Starbucks coffee and the coffee was behind the thing and he put like smile and there will be coffee and
oh
I
my
was just
God.
like yeah and I was like oh this is really friendly you know
Super broy. Yeah. Super bro.
I was like the bros do this for each other all the time you
Mhm.
know then we go to the locker room no I'm just kidding but so I was like yeah this is just bro stuff bro teams I was like yeah he just got me a coffee and said smile so I was like okay and then obviously I was asking people is this normal and they're like I don't know man it's kind of fruity and I was like well okay um
Yeah.
and then there was just like there's too many to list but there was just a lot of other signs where it's just like oh like you're
So
really
many
giving
signs.
stop it um but there was yes so many signs okay um and I was just like, oh, like this is getting weird. I was like, are you like into me or like what's going on? Because like I felt the energy, and again, I was like, I always delude myself. I was like, no. I was like, no, he's just confused. I was like, no, he's just really lonely. Whatever. He wants a bestie with benefits. I don't know. I was just lying to myself all over the place, and it happened. I believe it was around the summertime last year. Where remember I told you I had that horrible moment where I wanted to like unalive myself because I basically had to come out and ask him and be like, hey, do you like me because I like you? You know? Remember?
Scarring. Yes, I do
Yeah.
remember.
And I
For the
really hated that.
astrological girly pops, Venus was in retrograde in Leo at the time. So it was very Venus retro coded.
Oh gosh. Well, whatever coded it was, I was like, ugh, I was cringing. I was like, no. I was like, not you making me like ask and like talk and because
Yeah.
he had just done some stuff and people at work like there was kind of rumors floating around like is he gay and I was like I don't know I was like I don't have gaydar I have lesbian dar not gaydar I was like I don't know I
I'm
was like
all
I don't
yes.
know right I was like I
He
don't
is.
know I was like if he was a
He
woman I'd
is.
know but he's a man I can't tell so
The answer is yes.
so lesbian dar doesn't work with guys so I'm like I don't know and so basically, that's why I like kind of snapped because he was being super friendly and always just wanting to hang out and like the whole calling me babe. I guess after that like night that I blacked out, I was like, okay, there's just too many things that I'm like putting together and I don't like the outcome. And like the fact that I'm like kind of like stimulated and attracted to him, I was like, F it. I was like, let me just do it. So I came out of the closet and I was just like, oh gosh, okay, well, like obviously, like I'm into you. Are you into me? Or like, what is this? Like, this is weird. I'm like, because I need to know like how to categorize this. Because like
Yeah,
if I'm tripping, if I'm mistaken, like let me just kill it. I can do that. I'm a 3. I can just
right.
it's off, you know? Um,
He means Enneagram, you guys.
so
Sorry, just have to clarify for the girly pops.
no, and appearance because I don't have my abs yet. So, anyways,
Enneagram
um,
3. Mhm.
and I'm a 3 on the scale, and you're an 11. No, just kidding.
Oh
But
my
just keeping
god.
score. Sorry, delusional. I just can't with that song. You have it in my head now. Anyways, moving on.
You the one you the one who introduced it to me
Well, you're the one that caught it and ran with it. But anyway,
because Kesha hits me when I'm at my lowest every time.
and I
That's
hate it.
why.
I
That's what
hate you
she's here
being
for.
in, and
He's
you're in the
so
dressing
mad.
room right now. I
He's so
am.
I
I
am in
am.
the dressing room. But he was so mad at me last year. We're talking 2023. You want to bring that up?
Yes, yes, I do.
I had a full on gag order era.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
nobody likes that album. But I completely understood her and she got it. And I was like, oh my God, she gets it. She fucking gets it. And like I was super morbidly obese, losing weight, going crazy, serotonin all over the place. I don't know what the fuck was going on with me. And so I listened to that and she hit me at my lowest. And so, and I got it. Only love can save us now. I get it. You don't want to be changed like it changed me. Hate me
Eat the
harder.
acid.
Eat the acid. What is it? Nobody
Living
was
in your head.
asking. I'm living in my head, period.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Like if you guys are ever just like on your wits end and like losing your shit, listen to Gag Order. And
We really are like sponsored by her, promoting her. Like, what the heck?
I am right now. Well, she hit me where they needed her the most. Living in my
Um,
head. Woo! August 2023, y'all. I was living in my head. It was like every single day. It was horrible. Check out that song, y'all. Anyways, so just because she had a resurgence in my life with Delusional, because she's mid now, she
oh
was
my god.
totally busted with
Oh
Gag
my
Order, and I was too. And now she's mid, and I am too. So we're on the same level. Leave me alone.
Gosh, I
Gosh.
know.
Joyride.
I should pay you for all the hours. I know. I know. But
Anyways, we're mid
no.
together.
So
It's fine. I'm mid with her now. That's a better place to be.
I
Anyways, okay.
mean, yeah, that's true. Better than gagging, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely. But
You still
no.
have to be my
So
weird creature in Only Love Can Save Us Now. That weird hair creature thing.
oh, that'll have to be my thumbnail, maybe on one of the videos where I can't do this. But yes, I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
I needed that
So
at the time. No, I'm good now. It would be a retrospective. But at the time, I was like, tell a bitch I can jump this evil Knievel.
the
I was like
Kasheras.
that. What is it?
Kasheras. Your Kasheras. Kasheras.
Yes, I was gagging, and I called it gagging at the time. And I was not at Home Depot like her in the music video. I was at Lowe's because I love lesbian Lowe's. And
You'll
I
have your Lowe's
just
crew.
stand there like this. Yeah, I was losing it. But, anyways, I have to admit I
Well,
love Kesha. I do. I do. I don't want to, but I do. She gets me sometimes.
well, as you were gagging over your hormones and serotonin, I was gagging over the words that
Over
I
a
had to
man.
utter.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's not wrong actually. So I was gagging over the words I had to utter and be like, "Do you like me? Because I like you. So what is this? Like, what are we doing?" And basically, he did confess, like, "Oh yeah, like I am into you, but like I can't be into you." And I was like, "Wait, what? Like, huh?" And then he was like, "No, I am into you, but like, I'm the only male child of an
Mhm,
Asian family. Blah
mhm,
blah blah. There's a lot of pressure of me to keep the family name going, and this and that. And like, homosexuality is not really smiled upon or blah
mhm,
blah because he has like traditional old school parents. So
mhm,
it's just like, yeah, no, like it's not a thing. Like, I do like you, but like it's just not a thing." I was like, okay. I was like, okay, cool. Because like at least I knew I wasn't crazy,
Yeah,
but it did but like to me I was like, okay, immediately shut down, like, pew! Like not
yeah.
that he like I mean, he did kind of reject me, I guess, kind of, but also I was just like, okay,
But he
I can
also
stop
didn't.
this.
Yeah, it's
So,
like a weird gray area, in my opinion.
hmm yeah, for me, I guess it was a soft rejection for me because it's just like,
Hmm.
oh, like I do like you and I would like to be with you, but I can't
Hmm.
because crazy rich Asians, you know? So, so I was like, okay, okay, cool. I have comfort in knowing that I'm not crazy at least. At least I know you do like me, but like this is not a thing. So like, okay, I bet, like we're done then.
Yeah,
Like
you
shutting
at
it
least
off,
had an
shutting it down.
answer, right?
hmm So that's when I started like, okay. And I was at least able to still hang out with like him. Like it was okay. But then like obviously that kind of added something to the picture. I was like, oh, he's kind of like closeted. Like he's not out, obviously. So I was just like, oh. And then like as time progressed, like everything kept snowballing because he also started partying more. So he would like I mean he still does, but like he started going more hard, like going to raves and like
Hmm.
doing, the D-rugs and like drinking and just staying up all night. And then on top of that you pair it with like eating really bad foods and overeating and stopping the gym. So it's like, oh my gosh, you're just making a huge cocktail of like everything that can go wrong.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then like he would just I think he just because like I guess to give more background, because in his 20s he never went out or did anything because he was
Hmm.
really big. That's when he was in his 300s era.
And
And
he's very introverted as well. And I don't know what crack I smoked when I was in my 20s and really big, but I still went out and I was introverted and I still did shit. So I don't
mhm.
know. I mean, I guess not everybody's like me, but I just had so many extroverted friends. And when I was like in my early 20s, it was enforced. I was not allowed to not go. Like I would get in fights with friends and they'd be like, you have to. And I'd be like, I don't want to. You have to. Okay. Because when you're young like that, you can cave to pressure. But I
Right.
did stuff. So I don't know. I don't really understand it. Like literally not doing anything. But I believe it because of how he acts. So,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
at least from like the friends that I have, you're more the odd one because like I have another one, that you know of obviously, but another one who also didn't do stuff in his 20s. And now that he's in
Mhm.
like his 30s, he's like, I need to do everything. And I'm like, baby, the time has passed because I don't like, I'm sorry, like we're oranges now. We can't be doing all that. So like Giovanni's in the same boat where he's like, I didn't do anything in my 20s, so I have to do everything now. He turned 34 this year. And so, like, he's living his best 20s life at 34, where he's going out to raves, going out to parties. He's like, I'm mixing. He's like, I'm doing the hard stuff and alcohol. And, like, let me just add weed on top of that. And I'm like, you're like mixing everything.
And the
But that's
thing too
because,
is like your body's still older. All that stuff is gonna hit him so much harder now than it would have 10 years ago. And it's just he may try to be mentally 20 or whatever. Like this whole 30 is the new 20. Not for your body. It's a bunch of
oh, no,
BS.
no. No, no,
No.
no, not at all. Because, like, oh gosh. So yeah, he does that, and then like it's just a lack of living from the 20s, closeted homosexuality, and then like just
Oof.
getting deeper into like the hypo. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like it's just so awful
Yeah.
because things just kept getting worse and worse. So aside from like the gym eventually just totally stopped. There was no more gym at all. So it's like whatever muscle he did have, he was kind of maintaining it at this point, but then like he was adding so much fat to it. It's like oof, like, and I could tell because it's like, obviously like the fact that I was like stimulated by him, it's like I still look at him, but then like he just kept opening his mouth or he kept saying things where it's like, yeah, I got so effed up at this rave and like, oh my god, and I'm like, ooh, it's giving like 20-year-old, and that would kind of like drive me out, and I was like, ugh. But I was also like, thank you for speaking, because ooh,
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing too. It's immature at
mhm.
best. And it's kind of like I don't know. Like, it's very introvert cringe too to be like, I'm partying, I'm doing all these D-rugs, see how extroverted I am now? I'm really living. And it's like, there are other ways of living. And a lot of extroverts, for the introvert girly pops and boily pops in the audience, a lot of extroverts don't view that as extroversion. They view that as like just being ratchet or just like being a partier. And it's like, and sometimes, no offense to my girl, Charlie XCX, but she has that syndrome a little bit because she is very ratchet and she parties, but she's introverted and she has to bump that to do all that. And it's like, it's not true extroversion. It's like, just be who you are. Just be so for real. Like, you're not fooling anyone. You're not. So
Right. And
it's
like,
stupid and it's not attractive because I think a lot of introverts do that because they think it's attractive or they think it's cool and it isn't. It is extroverts see you as a fucking poser. I'm just gonna say it. They see you as a poser. I'm gonna be the one to say it. So
and I will second that because like that could be a whole other video on its own. But
right.
I have I have told you where it's like I don't know if it's a millennial thing or it's just like an introvert versus extrovert trap, but a lot of my introvert friends are like, yeah, I need to go out, I need a party, I need to club, and I'm like, well, that's not extroversion. I'm like, you can like going out doesn't always equal bar and club. I'm like going out entails like traveling or just getting out there in the world too. I'm like, you don't have to like I mean,
Yeah.
there is a difference between just always staying home and never leaving,
Yes.
you know? But like going out doesn't mean like you always have to be ratchet or go party or something. I'm like, no, that's not going out. I'm like, I just liked it. That's why I did
Yeah.
that back in the day. And it's obviously easier. It's not a chore for me as an extrovert, you know?
Right.
But again, opposite problem. I couldn't stay in that much because
Yeah.
I'm extroverted.
Right.
So
It's also, and I think in the introverted mind, it's a caricature of an extrovert. It's like an extrovert caricature. And like I
mhm.
said, some introverts feel like they have to live up to it or they have to try to be like that. And it's like, you don't. Like, I'll be the one to be like, no, it's not going to be as attractive as you think it is. If you're truly introverted, it's not going to be that fun for you, anyways. Like, 100% leave the house, 100% talk to people,
Yeah.
100% take opportunities, go for things, but you don't have to go to raves and parties and stuff as
Yeah.
an introvert when you don't actually like it. It's not that big of a deal and nobody cares that much. Just saying.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And he fell into that trap where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm going to raves. I'm getting so effed up. Like, look at me. I'm so cool. Like, me coming into work tired the next day. Oh gosh, but it's because I had so much fun. And I'm just like, bruh, stop acting like you're doing Project X every night. Every time you
Yeah.
go out, like, you know, I'm like, relax.
Well, plus,
I'm like,
okay, this is a little bit of shade because I heard some tea, but he brings down the vibe when he does these things. He's not good to party with. I'm gonna be the one to be the bitch and be like, he ain't it, y'all. Like, he's bragging because he has something to compensate for. People don't like it when he goes and all that because he ruins the vibe. I'm just saying, just don't. Just don't do it. Just don't. I get it. It's a temptation for the introverts, but if you go to that shit, here's a strategy. This is like a weird breakdown in the middle of it. Strategy. If you're introverted and you're going to go to something like that, you make your extrovert significant other or friends or whatever, you make them beg you to go because then the bar is so fucking low. They know they have to babysit you the whole time and all this crap. And you go and you're coddled and whatever, and it's fine. Or two, if you're like, I'm about it, I'm doing it, period, you go and you do not bring down the night. You shut the fuck up, go be a wallflower, don't get in the way, and don't slow people down. If you're really about it, be about it. I'm never about it, period. So I am not always invited. But if I am, Eric wants, I'm going to Austin with Eric and Lisa in April. He wants me to sing karaoke and do a Star is Born, whatever.
oh my
I'm
God,
off the deep
yes.
end. I
Yes,
am
you
not
are.
necessarily going to do that. No, but if he can finagle that, I don't know what world that could ever occur. But I'm just saying it would be like weird if it actually.
Oh, I'll have backup. I'll have shout out to
Oh my,
Lisa. I'll have Lisa to help me so you can be a Star is Born.
oh my gosh, I am
Because you
off
are
the
off the
deep
deep
end.
end.
I am
Yeah.
always, but okay, whatever. 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 The point is, you set the bar low, you keep it low. Then if you do anything, then it's like, oh my gosh, you did something, and it's like a big deal. And then it's like more likable. Or like I said, go be about it. Be the Charlie XCX. Go for it. Do it. Don't make it about you. Don't be a problem. Don't get too drunk where people have to take care of you. Don't do all that shit. Nobody likes that. Okay. End of speech. Okay.
And
We're
that's
done.
facts.
Yeah.
But no, because it's definitely been true. Because like when I've gone out with like some introverted friends, you know, it's terrible when you have to babysit because it's like, look, I shouldn't have to babysit. You're the one who wanted to come out. Like, what are you doing? So, because then it's like I'm not having fun because I have to look out for you because you're socially awkward. You don't know what to do with yourself, and it's like, oh gosh, I can't take my mind off of it because I'm not up my own ass. So it's like, oof. So I'm like looking at you like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
But whatever. It's just again, Giovanni is just stuck in the mindset of like, oh, I need this is going out, this is living,
Mhm.
and I'm like, it's really not. But whatever. You're 34. I'm not going to change your mind, and I'm not trying to change your mind because
Right.
I'm no longer trying to date you,
It's
and I
not your
have no
business.
interest.
Right.
Right. So it's like I don't care. You do what you want, and but pretty much after that incident where like with self rejection, whatever you want to call it, like I started like, oh, okay, and I was like, all right, I no longer have that much of an investment in this. I'm not going to hang out with you much because I'm like, it's just kind of a not a total waste of time, but a semi waste of time because I'm like, okay, we're just eating, and I'm like, and I don't just want to eat. So
Mhm.
we kind of slowed our roll, and work got pretty crazy for him with the whole tolerated moment that you heard between him and
Mhm.
like the
I
manager, and
heard
like
about, right. Mhm. The tea.
yeah, yeah, the tea of like the fighting and how bad he gets it at work and how they just take advantage of him and whatnot. So of
Mhm.
course that only fuels to the overconsumption of food.
Overindulgent. Mhm. His
Mm-hmm.
his work environment's stressful too, which I've talked to you guys about that a lot, that an abusive work environment can be a huge trigger for this kind of behavior. It's very, very, very common. And in the millennial world, we always like to tie in generations and introvert and all that. In millennials, we do not acknowledge workplace abuse very well at all. Millennial culture is, it doesn't matter, you're just a little bitch, blah, 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 blah. You have to just do it. And no, like if it's bad, you should leave. But there is a
Mm-hmm.
difference between a job just sucking or being boring or funky and a job being flat out like bad, bad. And
Yeah.
if he's at this point where he's like fighting with the boss who's also a friend and is like, well, then why don't I just quit right now? Literally having a tolerated moment. He's on his own Eras tour, which he seems to be a closeted Swifty, by the way, as well, which is funny with his friendship bracelets and all that crap, which I know I heard that too, the friendship bracelets. But, anyways, he's, in his August on the playlist at work. I'm like, that's a deep cut, y'all. But, anyways, the point is, there's some stuff going on there with work too. And so I'm assuming the weight continued to pile on basically throughout the time.
It's just a lot because between like I said, the closeted homosexuality, the workplace, environment that's terrible, the drinking, the drugs, and then like just all that stuff, it's like, oh gosh, you're just really, really, really making it horrible for yourself. Like at this point I just don't see how he can ever be pleasant, which
Yeah.
for a while he was not. He was not. And he was kind of grating and getting on everybody's nerves. But then, like, fast forward to the later 2023, and it's the holidays again. So he's obviously eating. And he was okay because he was eating. Because he was just, I guess, in that happy state or you know, I guess the EED moments. Because, like, there was the
Yeah.
moments where
He just has the relief because he's just eating all the time.
yeah, and we went out to the mall one time, and oh gosh, I remember it was crazy because he spent the whole trip there eating. He had like ice cream, he had like churros, and then we went to an Italian place and he got a pizza and pasta, and then we still went to that bakery place that he likes, the 85 degrees. And he got a lot of bread, and he's like, "Oh, this will be like my midnight snack." And I was like, "Midnight snack?" I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, your boy loves to eat. Like, I enjoy eating a lot too. Shoot, to the point of even throwing up. But like,
That was
that's
an
cool if you.
accident. Don't spread rumors about yourself.
I didn't
That
have
was
to because you were doing
ratchet.
that. You were doing
That's
that for
when
me.
I went over in August, and he went out with coworkers because there was like a work event or coworker related thing, and I was invited, but I declined.
I know, and somebody requested you.
I know, but it's
He's
because
famous, you guys.
I am an Instagram famous. She's
He
like, where's
is.
graphic outlet?
Yeah, literally. And I was like, oh, he couldn't make it. And I had to lie and be like, oh, it's just that he's so busy. I couldn't be like, he doesn't give a fuck about you guys. I'd be like, oh, he's just busy seeing other friends because, he's
Well,
busy.
I actually was. I actually did see another friend, but anyways, I
You still wouldn't
have
have
other
gone.
friends.
You
I
still
wouldn't
wouldn't have
have.
gone.
I wouldn't have. But, and he did ask me to, and he was like, "I'll even pay," and I'm like, "I can't. I just can't." It's because somebody I don't like was going or whatever, and I can't pretend. So sorry for the green cut crease, but I'm always wearing that every day. So I wouldn't have
Oh
been
my
able
god.
to because I am screaming, I'm speaking, on
Mm.
Jubilee. I can't help it. I am reactive. So, which by the way, Jubilee would die if I was ever on there. I just want everyone to know that because I probably would be reactive on there. But,
Oh, a
anyways,
thousand percent, a thousand
they'd be
percent.
like, diets don't work. I'd be like, excuse me, with my witch hat. I'd be like, what? Like, please explain that immediately. And they'd be like, Jubilee
The
would be like, you need
thumbnail
to,
they'd make with your face. I
Jubilee would be like, you need to
imagine.
shut up. Like, we're going to cut you out this video at this point. I get the massive bitch edit. I'm telling you. It wouldn't even be hard, though,
Girl.
honest. I don't even know if it'd be an edit if we're being real. But, anyways, that's why I didn't go. But anyways, he threw up after going to Korean barbecue. He accidentally ate too much and he got sick. So that's Eric not having control. So
Honestly, it was because I woke up with such a sharp pain and I was like, oh my God. And then I just ran to the kitchen because he was sleeping in my room. So I was like, oh. And like my apartment setup is weird and like the bathroom is through the bedroom. So I was like,
yeah,
oh my God. And I like ran to the kitchen and my two dogs were looking at me like, what are you doing? They looked at me
they
all crazy.
they're used to watching Degrassi 24/7, so they probably thought he was having like an Emma moment or something.
Oh, I know. They've watched like Degrassi like a whole run through like 10 times at this point since it's all I play for them. So they're like, oh my God, not him having an Emma moment.
They heard the guitar. They're like,
Distraction.
they heard that like dramatic guitar in the background. I know.
Literally, both their heads and ears perked up. So I'm in the kitchen, like, ugh. And then I was like,
God.
ah, but I feel better now. So let's go back to sleep.
Oh my God.
But but no, it's just certain behaviors that got worse with him because it's like he just started making no sense anymore. Where it's just like, oh, like
Mhm.
blah blah blah. He's like, I have a trip to Japan in like 1 month. I should like go to the gym afterwards. And I'm like, you have 1 month. I'm like, you can go now. And I think he always because I do some intense workouts now because of the program I'm on.
Mhm.
And I think he always assumes that I'm like trying to push him to do crazy stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not telling you to do crazy workouts. I'm like, just work
Mhm.
out, just move, just do some light weights or whatever you need to do. I'm like,
Mhm.
you don't have to do like Olympic style workouts. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
even really doing that. They're hard, but not like crazy
Yeah.
hard. But I think people act like I think that or something, or I'm saying that. And I'm like, no, just go to the gym. And he's like, no, I'll go after vacation. And I'm like, you're not making sense. I'm like, why can't you go before? I'm like, it's 1 month away. It's not
Mhm.
next week. If it was next week and you're trying to relax, I get it.
Well,
But
the deeper you get into the toxic ritualistic, you start comparing a lot. And so because you're in shape, he's always going to view that you're judging him, which is not necessarily real. Like we need to show that to the audience. That is a common thing. And that's what's happening. He's viewing that you're judging, which you are judging him, but it's not necessarily for his body shape. It's for like a lot of actual reasons and deep things and personal reasons and like a lot of things that don't have to do with that. That may be one aspect of it, but remember within toxic ritualistic, that person always thinks their body size is the only thing. When in reality, there's a whole picture. and there's usually a whole series of dynamics between people. And so, if this person were to see reality, he would see that Eric's issues with him are not just his size. His size is like one very small piece combined with everything else that we've talked about, which is a lot of stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that's what they don't always, or what people in that mindset don't understand. They make it such a big thing where it's the only thing, but it's not, it's everything. So always remember we're holistic people. And so if people are judging you, they might be judging you for a lot of reasons that don't have to do with your body. Just saying. Or they're not judging you at all if they don't know you, which that also happens too. But you guys know each other, so that's a different circumstance.
Yeah, like the things I do judge him on are like things that are not related to his body at all. It's like the whole like I'm in my mid 30s and I'm partying every night like I'm in my 20s, or that's more
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like ill. Or like certain things that just don't make sense, like the logic behind it, where he's like, well, that's a month away, I'll just go after it. I'm like, or you can start now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because he spent Halloween out there, and I already knew where this was going. Where it's like, oh, well, you come back like November 4th or something like that. So it's like, no, I already know you're gonna dive back in and be like, oh, well, now it's Thanksgiving, and like, oh, and then Christmas. And surprise, it's exactly what happened.
Valentine's Day, St. Patrick,
Right,
Easter.
and then we slowly stopped hanging out more because it got to
Mm-hmm.
the point where it's like, again, I like going out. Don't get me wrong. I like eating at restaurants, but like it just became kind of the main focus or like a heavy thing. And also I was like, well, I don't want to do that so much because it's like I'm trying to be careful and like just be mindful. And I was like, so I'm kind of over it. So I was just kind of like ignoring him more and just kind of over it. And again, there was not really like he was a decent friend. It's just that like we didn't have similar interests like that. Again, the excessive partying from his end, missing out on his 20s. I got to live my 20s and I outclubbed myself already. I'm old, I'm withered, I'm tired. So
You
I'm
have
done.
two dogs, two cars, and
And
that's
one
an
big
album
back.
title for you. Yeah.
So
Two cars, two albums.
and one
Or
big
no,
back.
two cars, two dogs, and I don't know. I don't know what the last two should be. You need like one more, but
I need one more
anyways.
set of two things. I don't
Yeah.
know what, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so I was just like, okay, I was slowly just getting away from that. And I was like, I'm not really into it. I was like, I'm sorry, like we don't really have anything in common. Like we started strong because like we had the gym and health and fitness in common. And then we also like played video games, and then like I watched some anime back in the day. And then, he still watches anime and he tried getting me back into it, but I'm just not into it anymore. That's done. I don't like it anymore. And then he's like, "Oh, you used to like anime. Why don't you like it anymore?" And I was like, "I grew up." No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh my gosh.
no, I'm just kidding. I was like, "I just don't like it." I was like, "I'm just over it." Um, my life is consumed. The only entertainment I have is Dead by Daylight.
And
You know,
Degrassi.
and Degrassi, living out Degrassi scenarios.
Well,
But
I think for both of us, really. First of all, your TV has that weird Degrassi channel,
oh yeah, it
which
does.
I don't even know what that is. Second of all, it's kind of nostalgic. So, like, when I went in summer, I was
It was
watching
fun.
Degrassi the whole
It was
time, and
fun. Yeah.
Eric was calling me Fiona because I was drinking, and then I told him, I was like, "I'm drinking because of you," because she's
Made
such
me
one
the
of the
Atom. Horrible. Horrible.
because Fiona said that about Adam or whatever. So I told Eric that I'm drinking because of him.
So
And I was like, I'm
terrible.
eating because of you too, because I was just being extra. I was eating because I'm on a trip, period. That ass. Like,
Oh yeah, and you're like, oh, it's just your presence. Being around you makes me want to eat.
you're stressing me out. Oh my God.
So terrible.
So
But
stressful. Roxy got it. She was stressed too.
well,
She understood me.
I guess I'm stressing Giovanni out. I'm stressing Roxanne out. I'm just stressing everybody out. Gosh. Um, but yeah, so tortured Roxy. But
I know.
so
I love her on my story. I need to see her again. I told Eric, I'm like, she has to be in her delusional era with me. So
Maybe she'll pop up in a bit right now. Sleepy girl, you guys. Sleepy girl, not sleepy boy.
oh yeah, he was triggered. Not triggered, but some of you guys thought that she was a guy, but it's because she's fat. And that's just reality. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It makes her look like a man. I'm sorry,
Oh my
girl.
gosh. Damn.
Because she
Well,
shouldn't be that
anyways.
big. And even your vet said that. And he looked it up and she's overweight.
She is, you guys. She's like 20 pounds overweight, I believe.
Yeah.
So, which it's not my fault, okay. But anyways, um, so I guess back to the story. Yeah, it's just things were getting worse, and it got to the point where it's like just really bad eating, and then the I guess the fixes got worse because he attempted to go like on a, I think he was trying to do a water cleanse, a water fast for like a week. Um, and I was like, that is awful. That is
Yeah.
terrible.
My
And
God.
then I was like, oh no. And then when I commenced my weight loss program and journey, he was basically telling me like, oh, you can easily lose like 15 pounds in 1 month. And I was like, easily. And he's like, yeah. He's like, just fast. And I was
All
like, I'm not
muscle.
fasting. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not fasting. Um, so I was just like, no, because like he got stuck in a loop where he like wasn't he would do liquid days and then he would eat. So it's like, and he went through an era where he was fasting and eating once a day. And again, he did lose weight per se, but it was his muscle because at that point I noticed that his arms were like no longer muscular. They were just like
Mhm.
they were big, but it's like because I guess the fat had replaced them, the muscle. So I'm like, oh, they're not really like nice arms anymore. They're just kind of arms and like, you know, I can be judgmental towards his body because he was judgmental towards mine. But
oh my God.
but
Okay, Kesha.
but anyways,
What is it? He's a 4, you're 11, but who's keeping score?
but yeah.
Wow. Okay.
No, no. But no, because I'm sorry, you guys, but I have to say it because, like, obviously, like when I was interested in him, I was like, okay, arms, okay, chest. I was like, oh, like he wasn't in the best of shape, but decent enough. Like I could at least like I was okay with it. Again, like I'm not that shallow, but now, like I am because it's too far. Because when I look at him now, I was like, oh gosh, it's crazy to see like what his, the cycles have done to him
Yeah.
because
It's
all the
all of it.
fasting.
It's a lot.
Mhm.
He's doing a lot
All the
too.
fasting he would
Yeah.
do, um, it's terrible. It like ate up all his muscle, and he's like, I lost weight, and I'm like, yeah, because you lost your muscle, because now he looks like a deflated balloon, you know, and it's really bad because
Yeah.
like
It's not healthy.
I'm not trying to be funny, but he has like a lot of loose skin, so it's like he has like saggy tits, and like his shirt, like it's just it's weird. I don't know. It's just kind of like hanging. It's just kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. Like except for like deflated balloon. Like you've seen the pictures. Um.
Yeah, he looks like he has serious body comp issues. That's what I would describe it as.
Mm-hmm.
So, very low muscle, very high fat.
Roxy,
You know, he's probably weighing around probably 270, 280 at this point. Oh my gosh.
oh, big girl, sleepy boy, come here. um, say hi. but no, yeah, it's not good.
yeah.
And there
He's
was a
put on
while.
weight. He's put on like 40 pounds probably, and it's pure fat. And he's lost muscle. So it's just bad. The body comp isn't there. It's yeah. But that's what that kind of behavior does. It makes you look bad. I'm sorry. Like it messes up your body. And that has to be called out. So it's like you're so obsessed with your body anyways, but then you do all that and it makes it look worse. That's
It's
just the
just
facts.
it's just very damaging because
Yeah.
like it's gotten to the point now where it's like this is kind of like I get it if I don't know. I just don't understand it because, like, to me, it's like we're a little too old for this kind of behavior. That I'm about to say because, like, he, because we have a work event this week where we're going to Korean barbecue, and I won't throw up this time. Um, but we have an event this week for that, and he's been wanting to go really bad to a buffet, the Golden Corral, which I love. Um, but it's too stressful because like he wants to go Wednesday and we're going on Thursday for the work event. And I was like, I cannot go to Golden Corral Wednesday and then Korean barbecue on Thursday. I was like, that's not happening. And also the corral doesn't have anything for me because everything has like soy or has like wheat or it's just the oils, you know, it has nothing for me. There's nothing.
Yeah,
Because even the chicken that I thought was safe has soy. So I'm like, there's
yeah,
nothing for me.
that's a lot.
Yeah, so
And
I'm just
you
like,
always have to
mm,
remember too, Eric's trying to lose at a very
mm,
low weight. So any little thing can cause an issue. It's hard. At
yeah,
that
and it's
level's
just
hard.
and it's not like obviously pleasurable for me because I'm just like, oh well, this is all for you, like for him, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, this is like nothing is for me at this point, and so I just cause he went as far as to like message me where he's like, so you down to be a piggy with me? LOL. He's like, you don't have to eat. He's like, you can just watch me. That's fine. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, I don't want to go to Golden Corral just to watch you. Ooh, just to watch you eat, you know. So I was just
I
like,
will say,
ugh.
when you told me he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like that took me back to the throes of my moment. Because I used to have Eric go with me, and I would just eat. Because for me back then, I was just like, I have to eat or I'm gonna eat. I don't care if you do. So when
Right.
he
Which,
when he said that, I was like, ooh, that is so toxic ritualistic beyond. That is like dead on.
well, yeah, and then it got worse. I didn't tell you this part, but it did get worse because I'm like, oh, the cycle is just not ending. It's just continuing because then when we worked together on Saturday 2 days ago, he was like, so yeah, yeah, Wednesday, and I was like, no. I was like, no Wednesday. I was like, because A, there's nothing for me to eat there, and B, just vanity note, you guys, I'm going to Palm Springs next week by myself for a little getaway. And like I'm gonna hike all day in the morning because I love it, and then at
And
night.
as Eric said,
So
quote, there's dick to catch out there.
wow, that's just putting
Sorry.
me on blast
I
like
have
that.
to joyride.
Wow. Well, yeah, because there's three people out there that I'm talking to, and they're just like, "So
Oh,
what's up?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
you
So,
don't have to put all that out there.
well, you already put me on blast, delusional. So you creased me. Um, so you creased my
Sorry, I'm
vibe.
not demure, mindful.
Um, you're you're not. You look like a clown. You're doing too much.
I
So,
show up to work with a green crease. Sorry, y'all.
looking like Patty and Selma.
Yes, I do.
um, but anyways, no. Point is, I'm extremely vain, and like I don't want to have a bad day where I look bloated and then look a mess. So I don't want to do that. Um, so I obviously don't want to go to Golden Corral and then Korean barbecue. I'm not even
Yeah,
gonna eat bad for Christmas. I'm waiting till I'm out there, so it's not bad. But point is, like,
right.
I told him I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing Wednesday because no, we're literally going to Korean barbecue the next day. So no, that's too much. I was like, I'm sorry, that's crazy. And he was like, oh well, you know, it's Wednesday dinner and then it's Thursday dinner. It's like a full day in between. And I was like, no, no. And then he was like, okay, well, he's like, what about Wednesday, January 1st? And I was like, that's New Year's. I was like, you said you're starting over New Year's, like you're starting clean, like you're not doing that. And he's
Oh,
like, and he was like, well, it's New Year's Day. He's like, that'll be my last send off. He's like, because it's like, he tried bullshitting it, or he's like, it's the first or something. He's like, so after that, he's like, that'll be my final send off. He's like, and then after that final dinner on the first, I start. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's still the first. I'm like, it's still the first. It's not like I'm, his logic was, I'm starting the first at night. You know, I'm starting the first at night. So I'm still starting on the first, but at night. And I'm like, No. I'm like, no, because he keeps like bullshitting or trying
I
to
know, but
justify
I
it.
remember you told me he said he was going to start in September. It's been a minute since
I know.
September, hasn't it?
I know, and that's why I'm saying like it's just gonna continue because like he
Yeah.
said I'm starting New Year's Day, like period. And now he's like, well, New Year's night, it's still like the first. It's just nighttime. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Giovanni. I was like, you're just not getting out of this. I was like, you're stuck. You're done. And it's just so weird to have witnessed like from him being pretty muscular to going to the gym to like seemingly have it together. Again, I'm sure the really intense calorie restriction harmed him, you know?
I don't
So
think he never got out of the mindset. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is it's not that the weight just mysteriously comes back on. It's that hardware in your brain is not different. So
mhm.
basically it gets reactivated and then he's going to go back. Like at this rate, he may gain all the way back. He might go all the way back up. But that's where someone like Aubrey would say, "Oh, well, that's how, diets don't work and blah 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 blah." And it's like what he's doing is not diets. What he's doing is an E followed by the letter D. It's overly restrictive, then overindulgence. I mean, you didn't get all into it, but there are certain times where, let's just say he's probably, we'll say, taking in, by our estimate, is probably between 6 to 12,000 calories in a day. That's very
Oh,
extreme.
oh, definitely. And like he was in that vicious cycle where he would
Yeah.
overconsume and then he's like, okay, well I've overconsumed. Like,
Then you
oh,
just won't eat or something. Yeah.
I need to do some damage control. And then of course he's so moody, so awful during that time. And then as soon as he gets some food in him, he's like Mr. Sunshine and Rainbows. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is insane. And like
Yeah.
it's obviously like hormonal and like he's stuck in it deep because like from the outside perspective, somebody who's not like, hypo and all that, or if I am, it's very, very mild. Um, I can't I can't wrap my head around it because I'm like all this time you've spent with this like on and off, on and off. I'm like, you could have just like and like I'm not saying like I'm the shit, I'm amazing, because that was one of those memes that you see where it's like, oh gosh, I work out like every day and I'm not losing weight, I'm still fat, like I'm the pig running,
Yeah.
So and then I started like,
A
tracking macros and
deficit,
calories.
and
Yeah, a
yeah, then it
deficit, and I'm
started
like,
coming off.
oh, right, and I'm like, oh, not me losing weight now that I'm tracking,
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, look at me being that pig from the meme, but but no, point is, I'm like, had you just started that, or have you just been on that, like all this time that you've been in a vicious cycle of on and off, and just getting worse because everything
Mhm.
he's doing is just damaging,
Yeah.
It's just kind of like sad to
Well, and
see
it,
that, I
it's
guess.
it's even sadder because the amount of damage he's doing, coming from where I've come from, I know that how deep he is in it, it would take years of like, honestly, probably for him, I would give him 2 years of basically perfect behavior. Like I've had to do basically, I'm almost at 4 years in March of being almost perfect. I had my one wine moment at the wedding, which you and Zeta, I'm throwing Zeta some shade. You guys both gave me total shit for, and then you called me Fiona, and you guys are like, "Whoa there, what?" Had a
Because you called
drink.
me Adam.
I did not. I just said that I was drinking because of you. No, I'm just kidding. Because you're stressing me out. No,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just kidding. No, I just, the wine was included at the wedding, and some of us are girly pops that are having a brat summer, low key.
When in
um,
Rome.
I mean, it wasn't quite a brat summer, but it was. Like Eric was calling me out the whole time, but the rest of my summer was miserable and tortured lesbianic. So I don't consider it a brat summer, but I went into the brat autumn very soon after. But basically, I was having a little moment, and it's like the wine is included. Like, let me pretend that I have this lifestyle for like a second.
I know your
have
brat
some fun.
bottom continued. You went into that horrible Spring Breakers remix that featured Kesha, and now you're delusional Kesha. Wow, look at that. Look at your segue. Look at your journey.
Oh my God. Well, because then, like Cinderella, as soon as I came back from LA, my life was total shit. And I had to work so hard and I was dirt poor and it was horrible. The clock struck midnight.
Oh gosh, and you turn into a pumpkin.
I did. Anyways.
Gosh.
So yeah, so where does that leave you with oh, what I was gonna say is basically like as I get healthier now, I'll be able to loosen up a bit, you know. There might be times where I could go to the Golden Corral or something and not worry about it. I'm not saying right now, because I'm still a hypo girly pop, but probably certainly, you know, late 2025, 2026. You know, it's like as time goes on, I don't think I'll have to be careful all the time. I don't think I'd ever be like, I'm going to the Golden Corral every single week, but it's like once in 6 months or something. I don't think it would be a big deal. So it's
Yeah.
like, it will change with time. I won't have to be so strict, which I'm very relieved. But Giovanni is in a place where I think he would need to be that strict for at least 2 years. And he doesn't have any discipline or any tools. So realistically, it would probably take him 4 years or even 6 years of work.
Oh.
And it's a long time. And that's why I've told you guys, like, I personally would not date somebody who's morbidly obese or above because I know how many years go into recovery. And it's no shade to anybody, but it's like, I just went through mine. I don't want to go through it with someone else. It was horrible enough the first time, you know, which I don't know. I don't know if that's shady or bad or whatever, but it's like, I don't expect somebody to go through that with me in a romantic sense. I'm so grateful to my friends and family. I would greatly support any friends and family, but it's different when you're dating somebody, you know? It's just different. So,
Well, no,
anyways,
I agree.
yeah.
So if it's shady, I guess we're both shady
Yeah, I guess.
because I wouldn't want to date somebody like that either. Because again, let's live in hypotheticals. Let's pretend that his personality is not grading in Enneagram 6 and whatever, and we're
Oh my
compatible.
gosh.
Um, I don't think I'd still go for it because, like, aside from the shallow, which I'm sorry, I am going to be a bit shallow, but a deflated balloon is not exactly that much of a turn on for me. Um, you know, I'm
Fair
sorry, it's
enough.
just
Yeah.
not like
Well,
it's
you're
just
we're being real. We're talking about it for sure. Yeah.
so
That's
I'm
your
just like,
opinion. Yeah.
and I'm just like, oof, like that's not gonna really do much for me. Like if I'd have to be deeply into you with my feelings to be turned on because I'm like just aesthetically by itself, I'm like it's not it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Um, but it's not even just that's not the primary thing. It's the primary thing is just like the moodiness, the logic that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, and
Hypo
that's gonna
haze
be
behavior. Yeah. It's bad.
like obviously like on a friendship level, it's already silly. But like on a relationship level where it's more intimate, like that logic is gonna be applied everywhere in every area of life, where it doesn't make sense and like the dots
Mhm.
don't connect. So like in an intimate setting, because like obviously we can be really good friends, really close friends. And I mean like not me and him, I mean like just with your friends in general. You can be really close,
Uh-huh.
besties, whatever. But obviously in a relationship it's intimate, it's deep, It goes deep at least. And it's just like, oh, like I don't know how I can handle that when like because I imagine the person I'm dating I'd want to see a lot or be around them. But if you're always having like moodiness or if you're like a roller coaster and I'd kind of feel like because you're improving on your journey and all that, I wouldn't feel like we're growing together. I'd feel like I'm a crutch for you, like you're leaning on me. You're just
Mm.
kind of using me. And I think like 4 years, maybe, I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
while.
It could be a long time.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if he was perfect, probably two, but most people
mm,
aren't. So it drags it out longer. And again, I
mm,
was near death. So being near death, I still had to take almost 4 years. But I'm mostly okay after three. But it was still brutal. So it's like, and it was not acute recovery. Oh my gosh, Roxy. You're dealing with Roxy's recovery? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I am. I am. Baby girl just got off her period, actually. So.
Yeah, she did. But yeah, it's like, it's a long journey for somebody who's deeply in all that. And you can get your metabolism back. You can, in my opinion, you can recover. Even like how you look, a lot of how you look and all that stuff can recover, but it takes years of work and dedication and patience. And there's hormone fluctuations. And, you know, depending on how severe it is, that recovery can be really guttural. Like 2023, I wasn't gagging for no reason. I had significant brain issues and hormone problems from years of damage, and it was all recovering, and it was brutal. It was very hard. So, and I'm really glad I was single, honestly. And I never say that, like, ever, because I hate being single, but I'm kind of glad I was, because I could just be a fucking mess and it wasn't bringing somebody down. But I'm not like that anymore, you know? And I
Well,
never
that's.
will be again. Whoa.
Why
What's
was there
that?
balloons? I don't know. That was weird. I don't know why balloons. Like, that's what you
Okay.
do, baby. um,
But anyways, but yeah, so where does that all, I guess, leave you with him?
it leaves me again. It's just been such an interesting experience because from seeing him being semi-fit, seemingly healthy. I say seemingly because again, the damage was probably there, but it just maybe wasn't as intense, or it just hasn't. It didn't break him or collapse him yet. Um, but from seemingly mentally there and physically fit to see the decline both in personality, like
Yeah.
mentally and physically, it's wild to me because I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just so interesting. Not interesting, but like just kind of a trip just to see it all happen because again, known him since mid 2022, and now we're going
Mm-hmm.
into project
Yeah.
2025, so it's just like
Oh my
oof,
God.
like just to see that happen and how like he's only gotten older and worse. And I just I hate that a lot of people are going to think, oh well, he's getting older, this is just what happens when you get older,
It's not.
but they
Yeah.
don't want to acknowledge that it's like no, all the alcohol he's drinking, all the drugs, all the bad horrible food, the lack of movement, the just everything compiled together. I'm like, it's not
Toxic
age.
ritualistic,
Yes,
clear
I'm like,
hypothyroidism, like that all, it is untreated, undealt with, not even considered. All those
right.
things all add up. That's a lot. Like play the TikTok shotgun noises after every single one. That's a lot of layers of stuff.
No, it is.
So,
And like, I just,
and a
that's why I'm
toxic
like,
work environment and closeted homosexuality. It's like, ooh, gosh, ooh, like that's all very stressful. It's a lot.
no, it is. It's crazy because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like between all that and like because there is that like there was that semi possible relationship aspect, it kind of like it does even feel a little bit like shallow or like whatever, but it just does bring it to my attention too where I'm like, oh, it sucks for the people that want to date because it's just like oof, like that's hard because it's like again horrible, but aesthetically you're not giving,
Mm-hmm.
personality wise and mentally you're not giving because you're
Mm-hmm.
you're a mess. It's like, and I understand it's an issue that can't really be controlled that much. I mean, you can fix it with like the years of like undoing the damage, but like when you're
Mm-hmm.
hypo, I'm sure like me, if I'm unpleasant and I'm a bitch, I just have a horrible personality because I'm aware of what I'm doing. And like, if
That
I'm
too,
doing it,
yeah.
it's just like, I can just, I can be like, Eric, stop. You're doing too much. And if I keep going, I'm just being a bitch. But
Mm-hmm.
with somebody who's hypo, I'm assuming, right? Because I was never deep into it, but like, I don't think they'd have that control. They would just keep going and, maybe
Well,
lash out or,
he's very severe. I think you have to be very severe for it to be in that state, but I would consider him not that severe. But it comes from the disorder. So because he has the disorder, gosh, it's like pouring here.
ooh,
Um, because he has the disorder, that's what's causing the thyroid issue. So it's a lot to unpack, and the thyroid issue can cause brain fog, and it makes it difficult to think about things logically or clearly. It's the hypohaze, you're hazy. So it's hard to get out. And I understand that better than anybody. But it's like he's probably going to be resistant to change. He wouldn't, if you tried to give him diet advice, he wouldn't take it. If you try to say, well, why don't you just do this? He wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
It's just, it's almost impossible, especially from your perspective as like a girly pop or whatever. He's not going to listen to you. He's still the man, so to speak, in the dynamic, and he would not listen to you. And it's just, there's nothing you can do. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but and I hope the best for him, but it doesn't look good. And I've been on that road, and it's a highway to hell. It is like, you're really, the only thing that woke me up was almost, reaching a point of near death. And if he gets to that point, I don't know if he's going to have the tenacity, the grit, the dedication to get back out, because I did. I found it within. That's how I got out. A lot of people, I don't know if they will, because it was very hard. You don't want
Yeah.
it to get that bad. And I always tell you guys, like, if you have these issues, like, deal with them now. Don't wait, because it could take years. And yeah, it seems daunting, but years pass. They go by, In the same 2-year span, I went from being super morbidly obese to just obese. I went from dealing with the repercussions of the E followed by the letter D, being tortured, all these different aspects, to basically being a normal person now. I feel very normal in that same 2 years. And look at what happened to him. So what do you want to happen in the next 2 years? 2 years can do a lot of good and a lot of bad. And it probably is interesting from your perspective to see both at once. But
It definitely
yeah.
is, because it's, yeah, because either way, I understand that obviously the healing is going to be a lot of work, but those 2 years are going to pass either way, whether you're
Yeah.
putting in the work to heal or whether you're still
Getting
eating
worse.
bullshit. Exactly. Either way, those 2 years will pass. So you might as well put in the work to live a better life and live a fuller life, because yeah, it's interesting to see like where you started, then when he
Mhm.
came into the picture, and then how like you guys like had like a whole crossroads moment,
Mhm.
and then the crossroads, I would say, in my opinion, is gone. He's gone
Mhm.
further into the worse, and you've gone into the better. So
Mhm.
but it
We
has been interesting to
overlapped for a
see.
while, and then now it's gone. We're not.
Yeah, so it's interesting to
So.
see that for sure, just like the crossroads, and then the done, we're gone, so but yeah, no, obviously I don't wish him any ill will or anything bad for him, but it's just the way it's looking, nothing's gonna change except for it getting worse. And it's a shame, because like I think what's the most fascinating to me is like I just wonder how people can really fun or think, because I never got that bad, like deep into the hypo like
Mhm.
that. So that's why I'm just so fascinated, where it's like, no, like, I know you said he won't listen to me, obviously, which he's not, because I'm like, no,
Mhm.
look at me, like I've lost
Mhm.
21 pounds, which again, I didn't know I had 21 pounds to lose. Not me thinking I'm hot shit. Not me thinking I'm hot shit at 211. Everybody lied to me. But
Oh my gosh.
um, now being 190, so I'm just like, oof, like, obviously the results, I'm like, look, like I've lost weight. Like you can see from my Instagram post, like where I started versus where I am now.
Mhm.
So I was just like, no, like I've done it. Like here are the results, and he can probably look at that and still be like, no, nah.
Mhm. They'll
And I'm
deny
just like,
it. And
yeah.
it's fat acceptance does it all the time. It's the same disordered mindsets. And I understand what that's like, because I've been that person. I know
Mm-hmm.
what it's like. You just dismiss it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I was so deep that the only thing that could snap me out of it was
Oof.
almost dying. And it's like, I hope that other people aren't like that. Because again, as deep as I was, those same mind, like the brain and all that stuff, I could kind of turn it against itself, and I could use all of that to get out. So I'm hoping that people that struggle with that, they have those tools to actually get out, because I did. But it's
Yeah.
like, it was very guttural and very hard. And I had a gag order era and everything. Like, it was very hard psychologically as well as physically. It's difficult when you're that bad. So you just don't want to do it. You don't want to get that bad. But I will still say, is fat acceptance correct? Is all this stuff correct? No, it's
No.
not. The rhetoric is false. And you can see in these 2 years, me and Gio have both gotten 2 years older. So it has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to
Exactly.
do with any of that. So,
Yeah.
and then you've seen it in yourself. You started counting and you started losing.
Begrudgingly,
You
yes, I must admit that truth.
you
So,
overate and you gained weight. Or you started gaining. You gained muscle though, because it was like a lot of Korean barbecue, but still.
oh,
I still
I
gave you
know.
shit for that 3 pounds, Regina.
That's why I threw
But
up.
oh my
But
gosh. Anyways, thank you so much for coming here. Do you are on the channel? Do you have any last thoughts on this before we wrap up?
I guess the last thoughts I have is just like honestly, just ugh, don't listen to the whole bullshit of like, oh, as you get older, it's just over and it goes downhill. That's not true. And
Yeah.
also, like, it's just aside from like the hypothyroidism and like those deeper issues, like it's really just boring, but it's point blank period facts. Like it's linear. It's boring, but it's linear, you know? It's like again, not counting the hormonal problems. It's like it's not like a you because even with me, like I said, I gained those 3 pounds, went back on the deficit, and I was like, ah, damn it. When I lost the 3 pounds again, I was like, oh, how annoying. I was like, it's right there. I just have to work for
Yeah.
it, and I hate it. There's no BSing it. I was like, I'm
No.
not getting it because I'm not putting in the work. Which, if I wanted to stop at 193, it's fine. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, it was up to me. So just
It's in
don't
your
listen to the
control, which they hate it if you
exactly.
say that. They hate it. But
And
it's
that's
true.
why and it's so true. That's why I said like don't be the pig from the meme like me because I'm just like, oh gosh, like no, it's so true. It's within our control and we can do it, obviously. I mean, you can take a break if you need it or whatever. We're not on the
Mhm.
biggest loser, but definitely we can do it and don't listen to the FAs. They are wrong. They are
Mhm.
dumb. They are fat. You
Oh
know?
my
So
gosh.
don't listen to them.
Period. Well, thank you so much. And I will see you guys all again soon. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Besos.